All right, you bunch of yahoos, strap yourselves in for another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity.
In other words, shut up, sit up, and pay attention.
And welcome back to another episode of Toxic Masculinity. We are here to entertain, offend, and defend anybody and everybody. We are just a couple of crotchety old farts that have a bad habit of speaking the truth, but won't let a few facts get in the way of a good old-fashioned story. We believe in America and Americans. And if that's not for you, well, I suggest you change the channel. We believe in freedom of speech, and we will rub your face into the cow pie of reality. We will make you scratch your head or scratch your ass, hopefully not at the same time. Without further ado, my cohort in crime is none other than the man of men, Don the Predator Fry, and I, his trustworthy sidekick, Dan to be Severn. And you don't have your sidekick Quinn with you there today?
No, sir, it's too hot.
Oh, she won't be doing a cameo here today.
No,
all right.
sir.
Okay. That's Bill, that's
One of my
Don's
bulldogs.
Peppa the Bulldog. And moving right along, joining with us today is a true icon of the world of professional wrestling. He's a former football player turned professional wrestler, known for his unmatched intensity and his legendary undefeated streak, with multiple world championships to his name and a career that has spanned decades. He continues to be a force in both in and out of the ring. Please welcome the one and only Bill Goldberg. Da, 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 da. There you go.
It is an honor and a privilege, gentlemen. It's been a while since I've seen you, Dan, but Don, I saw you about 3 months ago, and
I'm sorry about that, there, Bill. What unfortunate circumstances led to that?
It was the greatest. It was a meeting of the greatest men on the planet. That's why.
That's why I was left out.
There. Yeah. I was in Barrett Jackson. I was in Scottsdale, and I was selling a couple cars at the auction. And there you go. All of a sudden, I heard this voice talking gun like this, and I turned around, and it's freaking Don. So it's always a pleasure to run into Don.
Yes, again, I always wondered where that voice came from, because when he was a wee wrestler at Arizona State, he did not have that voice. I don't know where that came in, but it came in later. But
it was.
Should that not be? Should that not? Should that not be a voice that you in the movies as voiceover work? It's kind of like when you hear it, it's like the all-knowing, all-being. It's like, where is that voice coming from?
100%. I back that up, Don. We need to get you hired for some voiceover work.
There you go. See, Don, I'm always working for you there, Don. I'm your best agent there for you.
I know. Thank you, sir.
There's your 20%, Dan.
Hey. He don't, 10%. That's actually a reduction for Dan.
Oh. Well, Bill, let's again. Time's going to fly by.
Where do we begin, Dan? Let's just say here. Let's just say, hold on one second. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you introduced me. It was such an eloquent and all-encompassing entrance. But I want you to understand that I couldn't have been any of those without you two gentlemen. Right? So Dan, you remember the story about me telling you about this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Again, yeah. Viewers won't know about it.
After you win your UFC fights, I was the big UFC guy, fan. And I kind of stole that from you for a little bit.
Yeah, but okay, what's the world? The world of professional wrestling has always taken other people's material and just making them but you owning it, but trying to emphasize to make it better in different ways. Again,
it couldn't have been, first and foremost, it couldn't have been any better, Dan, because you were the freaking catalyst. You were the guy who did it. I just put my own spin on it. I just made it mine, right? And like all the other wrestling moves that I took from everybody, you just see something you like and entertains you, and then you make it yours. That's what that's what I did with the jackhammer, because Dean Malenko used the jackhammer in Japan, but he used it from the top turnbuckle, and there's no way in hell I'm going to get the Big Show up at the top turnbuckle. So I changed it and made it my own, and I did it standing in the middle of the ring. So you're correct in that, wrestlers take things from a lot of different genres and make it their own, whether it's talking shit, whether it's performing physical moves, whether it's the way they walk, whether it's looking at the crowd, whatever it is, they just try to get the best of all worlds and roll it into one.
Yep. No, totally agree on that. I got to ask you about your background. I'm seeing this Goldberg garage here right now, and it looks like you've got all kinds of different car accessories and things like that behind you. And I'm thinking, well, all right, are you big into vehicles, or do you like turning a wrench, or?
Yeah, how many you got? It's a good looking old truck.
Hard. I can't turn it around here because of all the lights, because there's 16 garage doors in my garage.
Wow.
Well, that's one way, and then here's the other way. Well,
Sweet.
Nice. And how often, again, you said you got 60 garage doors. I mean, how many vehicles are in there? I mean, I just, from a quick gander, I couldn't.
I think I got like 34 in here.
Wow. I mean, are you a collector of them? It's like certain things that you just simply like, and they're a collector of them, or?
I've been collecting
them.
I've been collecting. I do. I actually, yes, I'm Jewish and I don't have a lot of money, and I like to save my money by stealing other people's cars. No, I've been collecting cars for 30 years, Dan.
Oh, wow.
It's been an obsession for mine for a very long time. I mean, when I was at Don, when you fought LeBanner, and I missed commentating it because I was upstairs taking a shit.
You didn't miss much.
No, you could have made it a little longer. I could have made it down there and finished my business at the same time. But the night before he fought, or the morning before he fought, I was up at 4:00 in the morning talking to my guy at Barrett Jackson back in the States. And I bought 3 cars that night or that morning. And so, I mean, I've been a fan of the muscle car world for a very long time, man. There were cars that I could never buy when I was a kid. And when I got lucky enough to be in a position to where I could purchase one, when I was playing with the Falcons in '91, I bought a car, and that freaking started something that's turned into an obsession.
Well, I mean, but they're all great assets to have as well, because it's kind of like it's something that you can always sell down the road, and all they're going to do is continue to increase in value, because each year that they get older, as long as they're kept in great condition, stuff like that, you've got a great investment.
For the most part, yes. What we're seeing now, unfortunately, if you're in it for a long period of time, the 60s and 70s muscle cars, right? They're revered by a certain generation and a number of generations, that follow. But once that generation that really appreciates them and drove them passes away, it seems as if the prices go exponentially down on that vehicle.
Oh, wow.
It's a cyclical cycle, that's weird, and it's hard to predict. I've never lost a penny on a car. I love investing in these cars because it's an investment that you can freaking touch and you can have fun with. I take them out and I drive the shit out of them. Kid Rock and I and Kenny Wayne Shepherd were in Nashville 3 weeks ago driving my one-of-one Dodge Demon 170, and they have the same car. So,
it's one-of-one if they have the same car.
What's that?
How's it one-of-one if they have the same car?
Because these new cars, the Dodge Demon 170, one of the cars that I sold at Barrett Jackson, they gave 25 VIP customers the ability to pick a one-of-one color. So once you pick that color, no one on the planet can order that car in that color. So I was one of those guys. So what that does is that ensures the value of the car later on in life, right? I mean, you buy it for $100,000, and you put the fact that, I don't know, I'm somewhat of a celebrity a little bit. You add that to it, and then you add the one-of-one, and then you add the fact that it's been driven on the road one time, but other than that, it's only been down a drag strip. So you just try to increase the value of these cars by the VIN number, the exclusivity of the car. I mean, I've got a one-of-two Mustang right over there that was campaigned over in Vietnam. So
year
70.
Yeah.
They made 1,000 Boss 429s in 1969 and 1970, and every one of them were 4-speeds.
Fastback, right?
There was fastback, and there was a drag racer that worked for Chrysler that had this idea that he was tired of seeing men and women coming back from the war, risking their lives and then getting behind the wheel of a Hemi or a 454 and killing themselves because they didn't know how to drive. So he took a lot of cars over to Vietnam and set up driving courses for the men and women. And cool. It was a pretty cool deal. And the lead for the promotion was a Boss 429. And it was a car that it and one other car were taken from the factory to a place called Carcraft. And all the cars were 4-speeds, but they converted these to automatics. And so there are only 2 automatic Boss 429s in the world from the factory, and I own one of them. So
what color? What color is yours?
Oh, it's red, white, and blue, dude.
Yeah.
It's U.S. Marines. It's on the side of it. I've taken it to Pendleton probably 15 times. When I used to live out in Cali. The car means a lot to me. It's over 300,000 servicemen saw it back in Vietnam, and I've got the original handouts and the original 8mm videos of it. And I mean, it's a badass piece of history.
Cool. Wow. Well, that's actually really cool. I did that little aspect about you. Just saw the Goldberg garage, and I kept thinking the guy got to ask a question about that. So it's looks like a happy place.
I've got a YouTube channel like you guys that does Goldberg's garage, but I just signed a deal with I guess I can mention it, CBS and Paramount Plus. We're gonna do Goldberg's garage, on a television show again. So
we're gonna do Don's Outhouse.
What's that?
We're gonna do Don's Outhouse.
Don's Outhouse.
Yeah. It's not quite as fancy as yours,
but it has all the latest shit you want to talk about.
All the shit you want to play with, yes.
Shit you probably don't want to talk about.
Oh my God, that's great. That's great.
Hey, Dan, will you tell Dom the story about my son when we had breakfast in Escondido, and you don't remember that story? Okay,
start refreshing my mind. I always tell people it's not because I've been hitting the head too many times. I always tell people
you've been hitting the head too many fucking times. Just like me.
I was looking for a statement. I didn't get it. Oh my God.
Don's probably been hitting the head more than we have, though.
Probably, yeah.
That one fucking fight.
Just in the one fight with Takayama. Yes.
Takayama, exactly. So I get a phone call, Don, and it's Dan, and he's in town, and God knows what you were doing. And one thing led to another, and we met.
He's looking for a place to sleep, right?
He was not looking for a place to sleep. He was looking for a place to eat.
Oh.
And, Gage was about 5 years old, and we met him at a restaurant in I don't know, Escondido or I can't remember where it was, but and Dan and I are in this deep conversation, and all of a sudden I look over, and Gage, who's 4 years old, is sitting next to one of the most dangerous human beings on the planet. And Gage is eating all of Dan's food off his plate, and Dan had no idea it's happening. And when he caught him, it was one of the funniest freaking things I have ever seen in my entire life. So,
and I know Don's got to be probably shocked about the fact that I was not aware of someone taking food off of my plate. I know Don had to be.
Shows how deep of a conversation we were having, but I'll never forget that. And
that's great. I kept thinking it's like, he didn't grab the bacon strips or something like that, because I mean, I don't know, he might have been missing a digit.
Oh yeah, exactly. But that's probably when you caught him. So,
oh, that's funny. No, I mean, again, and how old is Gage today?
Yeah, he's just turned 18. He's playing. He's playing football. Attempting to play football at the University of Colorado.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a college boy. Plays for Deion Sanders.
Yeah, my old teammate, man. I was up there a couple weeks ago with him, and my nephew played there like, I don't know, 20 years ago almost. And I mean, Boulder's a pretty badass place. It's a really screwed up. I don't know. It's a screwed up town. It's a weird town. Denver, I mean, Colorado itself is kind of weird, but hopefully it's the next chapter of his life, and hopefully he makes the team, and hopefully he does well, earns a scholarship, and kicks some ass.
Hey,
What
did
position?
Deion-
What position is they vying for?
Middle linebacker.
Cool.
Nice. What I mean, okay, they must they likes that crash bang boom there. If he's the linebacker like that.
Did Deion cut his foot off?
He did not cut his foot off.
Good.
No, he something happened. I think it was a circulation issue, and they took some of his number of his toes off, I believe.
Okay, I thought they were talking about cutting his whole foot off so he could coach, because it was interfering with the coaching.
Oh, he was doing well, man. I mean, he was moving around great when I was up there. I hadn't seen him in years. I talked to him, on the phone a lot, but or not a lot, but I kept up with him, and I mean, it was cool. Hey, man, at the end of the day, you guys know we all went to freaking college. I don't know if either of you have kids that you've sent off to college, but it sucks. And, especially not it being in state or it being out of state. And it's, I can't get there in 20 minutes if my kid needs me. So to have him playing football in another state at a Division I school with an ex-teammate of mine as the head coach, that gives me a little bit of sense of relief, that everything's going to be all right. I'm not asking for anybody to show any preference. Just if that kid, is having a bad day, it's nice to know that there's somebody there. Shit, I played with 3 guys on their staff. So, I mean, it's nice to know that somebody's there that could just put their arm around his back and say, it's all good,
Well, that's what Bill. That's one of the questions I had, and because I looked through the different Wikipedia, there's certain things I just couldn't find out. Do you have other siblings, brothers, sisters, and if so, where?
Yeah,
where do you fall under?
I got 2 older brothers. I got 2 older brothers, man, that are 16 and 18 years older than I am.
Wow.
And I got a sister who's 14 years older. And the funny thing about my brothers is that, and you guys will never believe this, but back in the late 60s and the early 70s, my brother lived in a house with Ric Flair at the University of Minnesota. And another roommate of his was Ken Patera.
Wow.
Wow. Talk about that's how coincidental is that? Especially
how freaking strange is the world that it all happened like that.
We had Ken on here about a year ago, I think. How long ago was it? Probably about a year. Yeah, he was not happy with the
anything.
Yeah, well, some of the political outcomes.
Yeah. Well, who is?
Right, exactly. Just the idiots are, and I can't understand that. I mean,
they're idiots. How can you not understand?
It's just unfathomable. And again, how can you be that dumb? I mean, everything has cost 20% more than it did, 3.5 years ago, and you're happy with that? It makes no sense. It's money,
the world's a much better place.
Money you'll never get back. 20%.
I opened up a can of worms, didn't I, Don?
Yeah.
Well, no, like I said, obviously you see my little background behind me. That's because our country is in a little bit of an upside down state, and it also is that meaning for distress, which our country is in right now. So
that's why I moved from California to the great state of Texas, and I went from owning 1 firearm to fricking 1,000 of them. I shot my wheel gun yesterday that shoots 45-70 caliber.
No shit. How is that?
What's that?
How is that? How is that gun?
You know what? I'll be perfectly honest with you, man. I mean, the dudes at Biggest Finest Revolvers freaking built this thing is the Cadillac of like muscle cars. It's like a hyper supercar. The thing is unbelievable, but it's old school. It's like I think it's a 10-inch barrel. It holds 5 rounds, octagon barrel.
Wow.
But it doesn't kick. It does not kick. My dad
ported barrel.
What's that?
You have a ported barrel?
Yeah, it's ported. but
Yeah,
it's
so, yeah.
no kick to it.
How much does it weigh? About 7.5 pounds or what?
It's not that heavy. I mean, I was completely surprised. I mean, my Desert Eagle has more of a kick, and
Yeah.
it doesn't even kick that much. But my 460 kicks much more than that.
Really?
That 4570.
Wow. Who manufactured that?
Biggest, finest revolvers. The guys that do Magnum research.
Okay.
So the Desert Eagle guys.
The BFG, huh?
Biggest fucking revolver. Any acronym you want to use.
Right. Shit.
Yeah,
So,
no,
and it's
Don, like I say, Don loves his weapons. I mean, it's been down to Don's place on several occasions, and he's got he has a nice stash of weaponry. Yes.
Oh yes, I love it.
Dan has one, but it's sitting on the table with a flower in the barrel, you know.
At least
And
he's got one.
chocolate stains on it, you know.
Dude, I got a mutual friend of ours headed down sometime soon, Ray.
Yeah.
Who, yeah, you busted his ass about being the shortest
Navy SEAL,
Navy
yeah.
SEAL on the planet. Oh God, buddy, he's a good fucker, man. I mean,
He's great. He's
there are
great.
a lot of. It's funny how the older we get, quite obviously, we find out how much smaller the world really is, and how we all kind of attract together, especially in these times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, the social media has been great. I mean, it's been, the computer, laptop. I mean, it's the cell phone. I mean, you think way back. I mean, the cell phone really has not been around all that long, but you look at how it has affected different generations. In a very impactful way.
I wish it was. I can't stand it. As a father, watching my son get addicted to it, and no, he's not on it as much as these other people. And social media, I mean, there is good about it. There's no question. I mean, but there's some freaking evil behind those doors.
Yeah, no. If you use it as a tool, and it's a great tool to have. But I mean, there's, like you said, I've walked into my living room before to simply see, four teenagers all sitting down looking at their cell phone, and see one giggle, and then see the fingers move, then see someone else on the couch or chair giggle, and they're not actually looking at each other, actually having conversations. They're just texting each other, and they're right in the same living room together.
It's the most ridiculous generation of kids that I've ever seen in their communication or lack thereof to another human being. But
well, yeah, like the eye contact, shaking of hands, and well, I was like, COVID kind of did a lot about shaking of hands altogether.
Manners, lack of historical events being taken into consideration, all the shit. Yeah, it's a different world, and COVID killed it. COVID turned this world upside down and made people. It gave people an excuse to be freaking lazy, and it gave people an excuse to reinvent themselves. And it evened the playing field a lot of ways. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, we all have our opinions about it, and I don't see anything good. The only thing good about COVID is that it made me move to Texas.
Yeah. How do you like in Austin?
Well, I would not be in Austin for any amount of money in the world, because it's too much like California was. I live in a place called Bernie, which is about 30 minutes west of San Antonio. It's the hill country. I mean, I got 200 acres here, man.
It's good hunting country, right?
It is, but nowhere near my house except for the hog that's on the property. I'm going to hunt his ass down in the next 2 days, but
you got like
I live on a road where it's all high fenced and everybody has exotics.
Right.
I mean, dude, you'd flip your lid. Wanda has a 501c3. She takes care of critically endangered animals. And so, like, I put her on a plane yesterday afternoon, she got a phone call that there were 2 snow leopards on the way in for her to take care of. We had a what is it? It's not a hyena. 3 weeks ago, we had a hyena she was taking care of.
Wow.
So it's crazy. We've got kangaroos on the property. We've got a zebra. We've got longhorns, Brahmas, sheep, goats, horses, donkeys, alpacas, llamas, freaking everything. It's crazy. We got like 4 different kind of deer. We've got critically endangered deer that eat all the eat all the landscaping at my freaking garage.
She gives you a kitchen pass to go hunting.
What's that?
Do you get a kitchen pass to go hunting?
On our property?
No, anywhere, anywhere.
Oh, I can hunt anytime I want. Yeah,
Oh,
most definitely. The fact that I used to be a spokesperson for the Humane Society of the United States prohibited me from hunting back in the day, but I have no problem with it, man. I'm all over it. I want to go hog hunting. Matter of fact, like I said, I'm probably going to go tonight.
yeah. How big is that bastard?
She said it was big. She pulled up to the barn 3 nights ago, and he's just staring at her. Didn't even move.
Okay, is it Bill? Is this just a wild boar that's just roaming freely right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Somehow he got on the property, and I'm going to blow his ass to smithereens. I just got to figure out what gun I'm going to shoot him.
Oh, we got that big revolver. Well, wait, what do you do with the meat from a pig then? If you don't, do you eat it?
Well, I don't know. Is it traditional that they eat boar? I mean, I don't know a wild boar how good it would be, but
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, dude, I could just pick up the phone and call my neighbor. He'll come down and pick it up and do a process. I can get it processed right down in town.
Well, I'm just you're Jewish, so I mean,
dude, I ate a half pound of bacon this morning, dude.
Okay. That was my question when you're telling a story about Gage eating Dan's bacon.
I'm Jewish and I have tattoos. That means I can't go in the Jewish cemetery, right?
Yeah.
So I do things a lot differently than the normal Jewish human being.
Okay.
You know that.
Yeah. Well, I just want to. Our viewers don't know that, so trying to open up the door for them.
And I'm circumcised too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prove it.
I don't know if we needed to know that one now, Bill.
You try to get as much information out there as humanly possible.
Okay.
See there? See ya. I'm Johnny Carson, aren't I?
So Bill, I mean, okay, I'm looking at would you say that you have these other siblings this much older than you were? Like, were you like the last twinkle in your father's eye?
I was a mistake. I was a 10-year I was a mistake. And my dad was an OBGYN. You'd think he would have known better.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Yeah, I grew up, all I wanted to do was follow my brother's footsteps. There are two families that had 3 siblings that were all state football players in the state of Oklahoma. One was the Selman family and the other was the Goldberg family. So my brothers set the stage for me to kind of do what I'm doing right now. They're very successful businessmen now, but they definitely paved the way for me to be a knucklehead.
Nice. Well, again, that's good that you came up to. I have there's a total of 7 males, and I have 3 sisters. I'm second on the totem pole, and all 7 males went to college on the full athletic scholarship for the sport of wrestling. Nice. And the 3 sisters, they went to college on basically full academic scholarship. So I always tell people that I'm an athlete with a brain, and trust me, I've met a lot of dumb jocks. I'd rather be an athlete with a brain any day than a dumb jock. Yeah,
no doubt. There are a lot of dumb jocks walking around there. That's for sure. But there are a lot of dudes that have a good head on their shoulders too, or they wouldn't be in the position that they are. So
yeah. Well, there's a lot of opportunities now, especially going to college now. Just as of this last fall, a new ruling came down through the NCAA that now allows you to capitalize on your achievements that you did in high school. So you can monetize on this to where a college like Oklahoma University could say, "Hey, Bill Goldberg, not only we want you to come play football on a full athletic scholarship, but we'll pay you $100,000 over the course of the next 4 or 5 years in case you want to redshirt 1 year for your career there as well." And I think that's fantastic. The only drawback to it is the NCAA, if you have a phenomenal freshman year, some University of Michigan say, "Bill Goldberg, you had such a great freshman year. We want to offer you $200,000 just to come on over to the University of Michigan, and mid-season, you could take that on off and go." It used to be you had to sit out a minimum a year. And what that tells me, again, I'm just hypothetically thinking, only the programs with the deepest pockets will have the best teams.
Well, the
What?
deep pockets of the alumni, right?
Yes.
You opened up a big can of worms with me because Gage obviously was a high school senior last year, and they changed the NIL rule, and now they get paid. And I mean, University of Colorado, Shadir Sanders, quarterback, has the highest valued NIL in college football. And can you guess what that is? What the value is?
When he tried to.
$4.5 million for 1 year.
Wow.
That's in college, right?
Wow.
So I'm all for them getting the bag, getting as much money as humanly possible, but it does create a discrepancy, right? And the bigger programs, the more deep pocketed programs get even deeper, and they get better athletes, and the portal thing now with these kids can go to University of Texas, gave all their offensive linemen $100,000, right? So you go to university. I'm just using a hypothetically. You go to University of Texas, you get your $100,000. Halfway through the season, you're not playing, and the coach pisses you off, and you get on the phone and you call Ohio State, and they say that they'll give you $150,000 and you can start if you jump in the portal and come over. Nothing's stopping these kids from doing it.
Right.
And it's like created free agency with football. And Gage originally was going to go to the University of Alabama. And the day that he decided, Nick Saban retired. And we had a long conversation with Saban when Gage went to his camp. And Saban, if you ask me, retired just because of the state of college football and the fact that when you go recruit a kid, their parents don't talk about his education and his quality of life. They ask how much money he can make. So there's no student athlete really anymore. It's too much of a business. And I just hope that doesn't change the presentation of college football. And for kids like my son, I mean, he's a preferred walk-on, which means he's got a spot on the team, but he's got to make the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shadir Sanders is the number one projected Heisman Trophy winner, right? The value there is much more than a kid who's a walk-on. But Gage's last name is Goldberg. So Gage has NILs from a number, I mean, probably 10 of them at this point. It's a totally different landscape. It makes these kids businessmen immediately, even when they're freshmen. So is that a good thing? It's giving money to them and it's putting money in their pocket. Hopefully they save some. But at the same time, is it too much, right? So I just think they need to perfect the portal and they need to perfect the NIL.
Yeah. No, it's man, you guys can still hear me because I have a little bit of some computer glitches here right now. I have a storm that's taking place where I'm at right now, so it tends to affect my Wi-Fi to a certain degree.
The old rabbit
don't-
comes up on the roof, fall off.
I don't want to be sitting here wearing my aluminum foil hat with a couple
He's
metal.
got it wired into the neighbors. That Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, what put the bug into you at a young age, and what was it? Did you first start off in football, or did you play other sports other than football?
I played baseball, and football was just always a dream. I was born, the first picture I think I've ever seen of myself was in my brother's high school football helmet. I was just born into it. With them being as old as they are, the timing was such that I went to everything. I mean, I remember flying to University of Minnesota when I was about 8 and being caught in a snowstorm and having to drive back with the team on their bus back to Minneapolis. I just, football's been in my blood ever since I was born. like literally. And the only thing I've ever wanted to do was play football. That was it.
Where'd
I
you,
got
play,
it.
where'd you play college at?
I went to Georgia, man. University.
Okay, that's right.
It was a great experience. I had the time of my life. It was awesome.
I knew that.
Well, okay. Then the transition into professional wrestling, because you had the perfected move called the spear. Now, again, when I see the spear and knowing your athletic background right now, I'm thinking that right there is what you call a football tackle, is what that is. But it's a spear, but also it's closely closely looks like a amateur wrestling double leg takedown as well. So again, I'm thinking, well, I'm thinking could be this, could be that, but I'm going to ask him anyway.
Well, here's the deal. They, obviously with you guys having prior knowledge of professional wrestling, of my finish. So we're down in Orlando to do tapings for WCW. And this is the first time I'd ever been in the ring outside of the power plant. And I'm about to go do my first match. And the promoter asked me what my finish was. And I went, what is that? And he says, well, at the end of the match, when you win, you do some big move. Right. And so I'm like, okay. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And so I get in the ring and I'm wrestling this dude, Manny Fernandez. And
I love Manny.
I look at him across the ring and I said, Manny, do you trust me? And he says, yeah. And I said, at the finish, just tuck your chin, spread your legs, and kiss your ass goodbye. And all I did was tackle him. That was it. And I got to the back and everybody's jaws were on the ground. And they're like, whatever that was, do it again. I'm like, that's the stupidest freaking thing. I've done that my whole life. That's a football tackle. That's all it is. And they're like, do it again. And I'm like, okay, I already know that one. I perfected that move. So yeah, a spear is nothing more than a football tackle, but they call it, mine was different than everyone else's, right? The only dude who's ever done one close to mine, I think, is Steiner's kid right now, Braun Breaker, right? So he does my finish. He does the spear. So, but he runs dudes over. He was a free agent for Baltimore for a short period of time. He's a linebacker. He knows how to hit, and he's a powerful kid. And it's a powerful move, and you can keep people safe while doing it if you want to. So, like anything else.
Well, again, it's all about the presentation. And again, you always have a good setup because you always do at least one move before you got the guy down, and as he's getting up and he's starting to feed right back to make that turn, and you're there looking like that big Brahma bull ready to dash on in. And it's all about the art of presentation, So
100%. And Hogan taught me that more than any human being in the world. And I was lucky enough to, in my embryonic stages of my wrestling career, to be surrounded by some extremely legendary individuals, whether it be, Kurt Hennig, or whether it be Rick Rude, the Steiner brothers, Nash, freaking Macho, Hogan. I mean, the list goes on. And I was very lucky to have broken in at that time period to have those guys around.
Kurt was always a blast, man. It was always a blast.
The funniest human being I've ever seen in my life. And traveling with those guys, I mean, traveling with the Steiner brothers, Kevin Nash, and Kurt Hennig. I mean, yeah, how do you get a more pirated crew than that?
Right. It'd be worth sitting cramped up in a car. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a great time. Those guys taught me so much stuff. And, the reality is, the Steiner brothers and Nash, they were true badass collegiate athletes. And so they could empathize with what I was going through with the transition of coming from football and going into wrestling.
Okay, here's we're gonna switch stage from athletics here to academia here. When you went to college, was there a certain degree that you were pursuing?
I was a psychology major.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse because, I know why I do the things that I do. I just don't want to change it, right? So, and I know the treatment and I don't want to go through it. Right. So, I wanted to study something that I enjoyed and that was something that fascinated me and something that was logical at the same time. So, I came 3 credits short of getting my degree, which
Wow.
I will pursue sometime soon, hopefully. So, yeah.
Okay, and let me. Why? Because this is so far past due. I'm just curious why.
So close, why not? And I think my dad would appreciate it, right? If he was still here.
Yeah,
So,
no, I think that's great. I was hoping that you'd be saying something along those lines of just because it's something that you're so close to that you should finish something of that nature. So,
Yeah, my oldest
um,
daughter, she got a degree, a psychology degree from Johns Hopkins University, and then she got a master's in communications from NYU, and now she's a competitive pole dancer.
nice.
yeah,
Oh, that helps, right?
yeah,
That's classic. My dad went to Hopkins.
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
my only psychology story I could tell you about there is I took my class my freshman year, and the instructor was a very fascinating individual. Every time that you went there, he wore the exact same outfit. And even on the very last day, he even acknowledged it and that he was doing this psychological experiment wearing the exact same outfit, the same outfit. I mean, it was such an incredible story because he went and got interviewed. He had no background. He basically lied to all the people at the university. He gets this professorship. He's teaching this class. You get the test. Everything that he's been teaching us in class, nothing has to do with what's on the test here itself. It's kind of like you should have just read the book in its place. It was the wackiest class, but he had probably the best attendance ever because he just never knew what was going to come out of his mouth. Very
That's the
entertaining.
beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, man. You got to take something that excites you and it keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Bill Goldberg, psychology major. Nice.
Yeah. Son of an obstetrician gynecologist and a concert violinist. Go figure.
Wow.
Well, but you also the fact is that you got a great story because were both was it your parents or grandparents that were both immigrants that you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that's okay. Was it your parents or your grandparents?
Grandparents.
Grandparents, yes. So again, it's just we're talking about just the beauty about coming to the United States and everyone just trying to forge their own path. It's because are there any really true Americans? The only true Americans anymore are Native Americans. That's the
Yeah.
only true Americans. Everybody else, because I throw myself on the short yellow bus all the time. I go, I'm a melting pot. German descent, the French descent. Who knows what all else is inside that wacky
Exactly.
vine imagery tree right there. So
There's a lot that goes into it and goes into each one of them for sure. And yeah, unless you're Native American, I don't think you're originally from here.
I do. I think so.
Or unless you're a Don Fry.
That's right. Yeah, nobody claims you. You're one with the world. You're one with the planet.
Look, I was going to prepare properly for the no bullshit
Look
podcast.
at that. All right. Well,
I had the 2 most masculine men in the world doing the podcast with me. I'd have some bourbon.
Catch up. Yeah. So what's your favorite car, partner, that you own?
Oh man, it's that Mustang. I mean, no doubt. I mean, what it means to that flag behind you. I mean, what it means to this United States, man. I mean, it's got so much sentimental value. When I took it down to Pendleton, what I do was I lived like 20 minutes from the front gate when I was in San Diego. And the CO would call and would let me know when the white buses were coming in and everybody was, getting back from deployment. And I'd put that car on a trailer and have it parked in that parking lot that they'd arrive at. And throughout the years, I met a number of guys whose dads have pictures of them in that car in Vietnam.
Sweet.
So, I mean, it means a lot, man. It's cool. I had Tony Pendergon in that car, one of the best drag racers in the history of the world. And it brought him brought him to tears because it meant so much to him and guys like him growing up, wanting to do what they do. So
Right.
it's kind of like one of the first real funny cars builds or something. It's kind of cool.
All right,
Cool.
Bill.
How many horses?
Okay. Go ahead. Don. I'm sorry. Just go ahead there, Don.
How many horses is it?
Somewhere between 900 and 1,000. I mean, I've got my daily driver is 1,100 horsepower almost. It's 1023 to the tires. I've got a 1,700 horsepower Charger over there. So it's definitely not my fastest car by any means, but
Right.
it means the most for sure.
What year's your Charger?
Well, I've got a 69 right over there, but I've got a 2020 and a 2018.
My brother had a 68 when he was a teenager. He bought it from a guy down the road. It was a mechanic, Guy had a 69 Roadrunner and then 68 Charger and all this stuff. And yeah, he tore it apart and put it back together. I mean, it was just great. And then finally he had to get rid of it, shit.
That's what started me is the 69 Charger, 100%. My best friend as a kid's brother had one. And so every time I go over his house, I'd see the damn car and, Coronets and GTXs and belt, just every Mopar, these goofy
440 Magnum or 426 Hemi?
426 Hemi.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4-speed car. One of 152 69 4-speed Hemi cars. And I mean, I got a convertible GTX 68 and hardtop 68 GTX and 70 Coronet. And I love the old school stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, I just love it. The new school stuff.
The steering.
Yeah, but the new school stuff I got into when I started doing commercials for Dodge.
Yeah.
Quite obviously, I'm going to buy when you have a new car, a new sports car out that's got 700 horsepower from the factory with a supercharger on it. I mean, you got to be involved with that company, right?
Right.
That's when I started acquiring the other side of the garage, which is the new stuff.
We get what's your best truck?
I got 2 TRXs. I drive one that's my daily driver, man. I've got one with 970 to the tires, and it's badass. It's first edition, big Hemi Hellcat motor in it. I got a 99 1500 with a 392 crate motor in it. That's my workhorse, but I've turned into a truck guy being out here in Texas for sure.
About 6 months ago, I bought a 80 is either 82 or 86 Chevy long bed 4x4, the old square body, and I had it sitting out front, and my youngest daughter came down from college and says, "Daddy, I want that truck." Okay. She took it like that, man.
No, you bought it for her. But see, and you know what's so funny is now that truck and that style, there's a 67 Mercury right over here.
Wow.
That's just like a Ford. But I mean, you saw Barrett Jackson, those C10s are going for there was one that went for like 400 grand.
Yeah.
That's the hot thing going, and people get them built the way they want them built specifically, and they just dump money into them. But God knows what the next car is going to be, or truck. But it was the Bronco a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Enjoy it, man. I drive the shit out of these cars. I drive one every day, man. I just love them, and they take me back to the simpler times, right? They all got 8 tracks and freaking AM radios in them. I can't be entertained by anything other than the vehicle when I'm in it. So
You mean you don't have a working 8-track in it?
Hell no. Even turn the radios on, man. But it's just fun to listen to the motor and experience the cars, and it reminds you of back in the day. when they were new. You know, it's just, I'm a sentimental old fart. And I miss the times with my dad, you know, hauling ass in his Jaguars, and just the simple times like that, man. That's what these cars remind me of. And that's why I have so many of them, because I want to go back to the simple days. But and you can work on them. You know, these new cars, they're very difficult to get to just to work on. So
You open the hood nowadays and you see that electronics all over the place, pollution control devices, electronic things, plastic parts. You can't get wrenches in. Yeah.
You need a degree from MIT to get into the control box, right?
Yeah.
So
I think the last time I did an oil change was on my F-150 pickup truck. That was
exactly.
it. I mean, we opened it up. You saw the block. It was easy access to the spark plugs. I could change plugs, the whole 9 yards. It's like going, not today. Nope,
Oh,
can't
hell
even.
no.
Can't
Back
find
in the day, you could jump in the engine compartment and work on the freaking motor.
Be almost sitting on the hood. Yeah, sitting right there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Those days are gone, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know, you gotta have a degree just to change a tire.
You can't even change the freaking tire anymore. I think you got to pick up I don't know what you got to do. These electric
EPA.
Dan, I know both of you guys probably have the new electric cars, don't you?
Oh yeah. First thing, I was first one in line for that. Yeah, had to get my 24,000-pound car to save the planet. You know,
What a ridiculous deal.
what a bunch of
Trying
dumbasses.
to shove EVs down our throat for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big scam. The government works for the people, but they're telling you what you got to fucking drive, you know, what you can have in your house for a refrigerator, what kind of fucking stove and oven you can have. You know, you can't have too much air conditioning, can't have too much heat, but the
You can
government
only
works for
water
us.
your plants. You can only water your yard a certain day.
Right. But they work for us. Yeah, come on, people. Get your heads out of your asses. It's crazy.
Bill, Don, stop beating around the bush like this. We just speak your mind here now. Huh? Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what we gotta do. What we gotta do is I want to know where all that money for the infrastructure went for the last fucking 40 years. You know, how come there's like Arizona has CAP, Central Arizona Project, where they had a water line, you know, going through the state. How come we don't have something set up like that at the mouth of the Missouri River or the Mississippi River, running it across the top of the United States, you know, to put water in Nevada, Arizona, California? You know, I mean, every year the fucking Iowa floods, you know, the Mississippi River floods. How come we're not taking that water and putting it out, you know, in the desert states to where we need it? It's
They're a bunch of morons.
Yeah. It's simple solution.
Yeah, there are simple solutions to a lot of our problems right now. We just unfortunately don't know how to make a decision.
No. Well, we can't get
On that, I think I'm going to open my bottle of liquor.
can't get the president out to shit his pants and quit shaking hands with people who don't exist either.
He could probably shit his pants.
Wow.
Okay, that starts it off good.
All right, so you're a PE coach in the Goldberg TV show?
I was, yeah, before they ended the show. Yeah. Goldbergs was a lot of fun. Not only was I God, that has an afterbite to it. I was the only dude on set with the name Goldberg, and everybody had a freaking chair on set that said Goldberg, and I didn't know where to sit. Number one. Number two, I gotta say, it was the most fun I've ever had doing a television appearance, because it's a comedy, and every son of a bitch on that set is a freaking comedian. Yeah. And so you can't help but be funny by osmosis. I mean, because everyone's just hilarious and they're all writing for you. And so all I got to do is say what they wrote and I'm going to be funny. Right. I'll never forget having to dance around in pink high heels and tube socks, but I owned it, man. And it was fun because everybody just nobody took themselves seriously. And so it kind of like that stupid freaking movie you and I did, where we had to fight in the car. I can't believe I'm even bringing this up. And I'm bringing it up because I was on CT's podcast the other day and we talked about it.
Yeah.
You know, I brought CT on set because he lived in the area. And then they ended up getting him to play Mr. T in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Dan, Bill and I did a fight, probably a half-hour fight, right? Inside of a car wash at nighttime, you know, and
Inside of a car wash.
yeah, inside of a car wash.
While it was going.
Everything moving, yeah. And that was one of the times I had a broken back. And he picked up one of the other guys who weighed about 220 and hands him to me. And I go, oh my God. My back just started screaming at me. And I about dropped this poor guy on his head. But
that's when I started getting worried about you, man, because you had this, remember that freaking back machine contraption you made to vibrate on your back or something?
Yeah.
Looked like a sawzall with a cross between something else. I don't know what the hell it was, but
I don't know either.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were ever going to be upright after that. Oh. That's why. So speaking of, this is a great transition, and I'm not trying to run your podcast, but Bio Accelerator.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love it. I tell you, I had Coach McMahon. He was one of my high school coaches, wrestling coaches. He went down there with me. He pushed me in there in a wheelchair.
Oh, but hold on, back up. What led you to make the decision to go with them? Because there's so many people out there that offer stem cell treatment.
Ken Shamrock told me about it. Yeah, and it worked for Ken. He said, he said I couldn't lift my arms. He says now I can do this. And look at me. I mean, I couldn't lift my arms either. And it's crazy. I mean, this is amazing.
Well, like I told you on the phone, you were one of two of the first people that I mentioned, because they always ask you at Bio Accelerator, who you could recommend. And man, because of physical condition that you've always been in lately, I'm like, fuck, Don Fry needs it more than anybody. And then I saw that you had done it.
Yeah.
And I've got a number of Tony Hawk, Rampage did it. Kevin Nash did it.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, Crispy Avila, who was a veteran who got blown up, and it was a vehicle explosion, and he lost his leg. He lost a couple digits on his hands, and he burnt like 75% of his body.
Jeez.
And I had him on the show. I had him on Goldberg's Garage, and I like to take local veterans around and, scare the shit out of them or make them smile by ripping tires off my cars, take them to the ride. And he brought his car down to my garage and we filmed it. And I asked him about the story because I was real curious, man. I got NFL guys, everybody telling me about it, trying to push me to go here and there. And this dude literally broke down into tears and said that he woke up after the procedure and he didn't know what to do because it was the first time he'd never been in pain.
Yeah.
And that alone, because I'm claustrophobic as shit.
Yeah.
I'm a control person, and I don't like going where I can't control everything, right? And so to go do the Bio Accelerator, you got to do the stem cell, you got to do the MRIs, you got to do this, you got to do that. And so that's that, and seeing you and seeing Kevin Nash is what's made me completely go 100% forward. And I'm making my appointment in September now. So that's the lead into you please telling me what a great experience it was.
Oh, it was. It was, like I said, Coach McMahon pushed me in there in a wheelchair. And then 2 hours later, I walked out, and we went out into the mall. There's the hotel, and then a big mall, and then the clinic, and probably about a half mile, is the mall. And we went out and we walked for 2.5 hours, and I had done that. I hadn't been able to do that in a decade, and then the next day, went in there, boom, they shot me up again, went out and walked for 3.5 hours, and I was happy as a pig in shit, boy, I'll tell you.
So how long ago was that?
I don't know, Dan, when was that? You got yours
It'd be
done?
probably 3 years ago now. It
Yeah.
has to be over 3 years. Yeah, just over 3 years.
Dan got his done at the same time.
Yeah,
You
basically
did it all?
after Don had gone through his experience right there. I mean, it's a really nice setup because, like as Don was saying, it's like a shopping mall, and their clinic is attached right to this shopping mall. So the hotel that you stay in, stuff like that, right there in this the same whole place. So you stay there. You go just go down and you go right into the clinic, and then like Don was saying, you just simply walk around the shopping mall. It's got like I think 2 or 3 different levels to it,
The
and
most difficult
it's a
thing,
beautiful environment.
most difficult thing about that is when you come out of the hotel, there's an ice cream shop right outside. Oh,
That doesn't sound difficult to me. That sounds
uh, walking by it is difficult. I had to stop every time, man. I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah. So how long did you guys have to be sedentary afterwards as far as from training?
Didn't I didn't have to be. Did you, Dan?
No, there's no limitations on that. They wanted you just like Don was saying there, Bill. They wanted you to keep moving. So I'm not certain if that's just to help move things around because the whole aspect of stem cells, they're going to go to wherever you have inflammation in your body in the first place. And over the course of the next 30, 60, 90, all the way up to, they said even all the way up to the end of the first year after getting treatment, it's still developing in a positive direction. Then once you hit the 1 year mark, basically whatever has happened within that 1 year mark is what you will have gained back.
Did Don, did they specifically inject your back?
They yes, they injected my points, my shoulders, elbows, knees, my back. They give you an IV to where it goes, directly through your whole bloodstream. They did my spinal cord, because I
To
had
your neck?
yeah, I had infections in my spinal cord, before. And yeah, I mean that almost wiped me out. And
I mean, and Bill, I could say that I went and visited Don. He was at a couple of different clinics in Arizona, and I just he was filleted open. It was like they had tubes in them and draining out junk and that. And I'm thinking, I'm trying to keep my best face. Yeah,
you look
look
great
at
now.
good there, Don. I'm like, oh my god, yeah. What was it good? Yeah.
Yeah, but man,
For yourself, Donnie boy.
I feel great, man. I mean, you're gonna, you wake up, you have bad days, and you have really bad days, right? I mean, but you don't have quite so many really bad days anymore. You just have, hey, and you go from, hey, that really not a bad day. I wake up this morning and I feel good. What the hell,
What's wrong with me?
Yeah, nothing hurts.
I mean, bit by bit, I mean, you already started probably experience just a little bit of that because you look at, what's the normal age range in the Goldberg family male dynamics there. For example, I look at like both my parents. One was gone at 73. One was gone at 75. Okay, I'm 66 now. It's like going. I don't like. Again, it's like kind of going. How much time do I have left? So it's more important for me to take better care of my health now than ever because I'm on the downside of life.
Well, no question. I mean, taking into consideration the life expectancy of those who came before you, but did those who come before you put their bodies through the ringer like you did? And how much is that going to affect us, in longevity wise? And, truly, and Don can attest to this, every second that we have right now, we're all at the age that every second we have is a blessing, and I'm going to take advantage of it. And I'm not going to try to waste a second, man, because there are a lot of people that we know, in a lot of different professions that aren't here anymore and that can't do that. You
Right.
know, and we know a lot of people that are in worse condition than we are, especially in the fight world, and especially in the wrestling world, and especially if football's the same. It's the same deal. We all go through the same thing, you know, different professions, but it's truly the same shit. So
Absolutely.
you got to be proactive, because we've destroyed ourselves enough to where now it's time to really put ourselves, you know, at the forefront. I haven't done it because, well, I went back on my return and I blew my shoulder out the night I returned. And then it's like you can't get surgery not knowing when your next performance is. So for 5 years, I faked it. 6 years, whatever it was, I faked the fact that I didn't have a blown out rotator cuff, somehow, some way. But yeah, it's a, you got to start taking care of yourself. And I put myself on the back burner for 4 years with Gage, 100%, like, because every night when we'd have, you know, there are 5 steaks and I give him 4, you know, you let me just eat. So I was building a monster and not taking care of myself at the same time. He comes up here, does all this weight. I got a 3,000 square foot gym up here on top of the garage. And I can't do anything compared to that. Certain moves because of my injuries.
Right.
Sure.
You know, it just sucks. But
No, that's
And
what
by-
that's one of the tough things. But when you do walk into the gym, you knew what you used to be able to do, but it's kind of like going, now you have to walk past those weights and you just have to train differently. And
Man.
that's tough. That's tough on a man's, tough on a man.
it is, but it's better to be a has been than a never was, right?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And
None
again,
of us have anything to prove to anybody, even ourselves. And I'm, you know, but what makes us who we are is continuing to want to be the best at what we do.
Yeah.
No matter what age we're at, right? So
You'll be happy with my accelerator. You know, I was really impressed with them, and the results. Like I said, I walked out of there. You know, and went and walked for 2 hours. Hadn't walked for 2 hours for a decade. You know, and then I got to do it. I was so tickled, man. It was great.
well, just to hear that from you, because I've seen you over the past number of years, and you've been bad at times and you've been worse at times.
Right.
We all worried. We worry about you. We worry about each other, man. That's the point, you know? So, I'm ecstatic to know that it helped you, man. And further behind the fact that I've got to do it. And the fact that it helped you, Dan, I mean, that's huge. Did you get any spots, shot up?
No, I did kind of like what Don did. I had the different IVs and had to go through all the different MRIs and the whole 9 yards, and they saw different areas that. But between IVs and then specifically having things shot in shoulders, hips, and things. But I went there very specifically for a hip. That was really my major thing. That it was too far gone.
Uh-huh.
They didn't say that. They saw, and they said there's very little room in there. And I mean, I was already in pain at that point in time. But I'll just say that it did not help my hip, you know.
Gotcha.
So it's I did have to have a hip replacement. So and it's but just as you said there before, here I am doing this PT and they're like, Dan, can you give us like 8 or 10 reps with such little light weights there, and here I'm giving, then they walk away because every I fit right in the demographics that they had. This is the crew of silver hair. Everyone in there was gray, silver head, whatever you want to call. I wasn't the youngest chickadee. I wasn't the oldest chickadee out there, but I fit right in with the flock. But I was the alpha male of the chickadees, and so it was like every machine I got onto is like I wanted to do more reps and more and more, and then I finally after just a few weeks, just kind of going. I'm only doing the PT twice a week, I should say. So I'm like going, you can't if I start just going to my own gym and just start. I can replicate the exact same exercises, and I go. I know you're going to say control it, and I will to a degree. I said, but I know you, Bill. You know your body. Just the same way
Someone knows
that
our
Don knows his
bodies more
body.
than we do.
Yes,
And PT
and
people, personal trainers and therapists have to take that into consideration when dealing with guys like us, because we've done it so many times.
Yeah.
It's second nature. It really
Yeah.
is. And no one cares about our health more than us.
exactly. We all want to be around for as long as possible. So, and we want quality of life on top of that. Sitting around drooling down our chin, no, that's not living.
Hell, Don's doing that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking.
I think he's watching a Biden commercial. I think right now that's what it is.
Thinking about that bottle of Woodford he said he's got. He's
He's dreaming about that ice cream shop.
yeah. You wait, you'll get there. You'll tell me about it when you're
Oh,
back.
good, man. I eat ice cream every night before I go to bed right now.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm prepping for that ice cream shop.
Oh man,
Uh-oh.
fantastic.
Okay. Is there a favorite type of ice cream since you're on this little note there? What's your favorite kind of ice cream?
Oh, you piqued the severed interest there.
Oh man, I mean, I'm a dull son bitch. I just like vanilla,
Okay,
give me
but nothing
Rocky
thrown
Road
in there
every
with it. Vanilla with no condiments with it.
Well, I mean, I'll throw
Ketchup
like
was-
a gigantic Snickers bar in it or something. But
Oh, okay. There you go.
I have to have some kind of chocolate in with my vanilla. But yeah, I'm simple, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I could have went with vanilla, but to me, the vanilla would have had a big dollop of peanut butter. Would have had maybe some kind of peanuts or something like that on there, and then maybe a little glop of fudge, chocolate or something like that. Yeah, I could go with that. I could roll with that one just fine.
I'll go with the
I'm-
banana split all day too. I'm not
Yeah.
going to turn that one down.
I'm a condiments king. The food is just a carrier for the condiments I like to put onto them. That's all.
A carrier for my condiments.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. But well, Bill, I know we've been on here well over an hour, and I want to be any last minute projects that are on the works, or if people want to book you or to approach you for business opportunities, stuff like that, how are ways that people can get in contact with you?
Call my agent. No. Right now, man, my biggest presence is on Instagram and on YouTube. Goldberg's Garage. These cars are my life. I do a show every week, tomorrow or Friday night or Friday afternoon. It always comes out. It's nothing spectacular. It's just me and my cars and doing a different one each week and having some fun. And like I said, I am lucky enough to have a new car show that's going to be on Paramount Plus here. It has to be filmed within by the end of the year. So, Instagram's the best place to get a hold of me, for sure.
Okay.
Because unlike a lot of people, I follow my own Instagram. I don't have an assistant do it anymore. I like to think that my fans know my voice compared to my assistant's voice, and when they want to talk to me, I'll respond to them. So, that's probably the best place to get a hold of me. But before I leave, I just got to say, and Don, no, don't fucking laugh. You guys have been a huge part of my life, like huge, much more than you'll ever know. Right. I played football. My life was football. I knew nothing other than football. And then here comes the UFC. And in my introduction to you two guys, and then that was about the time when football was taken away from me. And I didn't know what the hell I was going to do with my life. I had no idea. Sure, my brother had a house with Flair back in the day. Sure, I knew Mean Gene. Sure, I knew a bunch of people when I was in Atlanta with the Falcons and with Georgia. I mean, I saw every wrestler, Dallas Page, Sting, all those guys, out all the time. But you guys really helped me develop a character that I could look myself in the mirror and be proud of as a big badass dude. You two helped me much more than you will ever know, whether it's psychologically, or just watching you guys and taking little tidbits from you guys just being you. So, in a day and age where people don't appreciate the people who came before them and don't respect history, I say fuck all of that. And I will take my hat off to you two gentlemen, because you have both paved the way for guys like me. And I greatly appreciate it. And I greatly appreciate shit. I was fans of yours, and then I become friends of yours. And, you know, it's a really cool circle. I remember pulling your ass out of a strip joint at 3 a.m. in Tokyo, Don.
I don't remember.
Or somebody's fight, right? So, I mean, to know that I watched you guys on TV, and then you made such a big part of my life happen, and then I got to be buddies with you guys. It's a really cool deal. I am not a sentimental dude by any stretch. I do not have a feminine part in my body, but I cannot thank you guys enough, and I do give credit where it's due. And you guys have done a lot. And look at what you did for the UFC. Shit. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. I mean, if it wasn't for the original cast of characters that put that freaking sport on the map, it wouldn't be what it is today. And I just hope and pray that every other human being that walks the planet understands what you two have meant for not only the business, but for guys like me.
Thank you, sir. Thank
I'm
you.
out of here.
Bill, yeah, really, thank you very much for that. That's some great praise. We do appreciate that very much, and I don't know what else to say here now. Donna,
Oh, you don't have
I'm
to say
exhausted.
shit. It just really impacted my life in a positive way, and to know that we're friends now, and I mean, it's a cool deal, and it's a testament to you know, guys being alike and attracting to other similar dudes, and you guys you guys have set a good example for me, so I greatly appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate that. I just also I appreciate Israel, and I stand with Israel, you know, and these motherfuckers on these college campuses, they need to have their fucking asses kicked, you know.
Well, yeah, because nobody remembers what happened October the 7th, right? You
Right.
can't erase that history as much as they want to erase it. And the gloves are taken off after that. You come in and you kill 1,200 people like that,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you do the atrocities that they did. I don't give a flying
And you
flip
want to raise a white flag? Yeah, fuck you.
break. Come on, man. After that, that's like somebody for, I can't give a good analogy, and I'm not going to even try, but it's just amazing to me that these kids have no idea about history and
No.
what really goes on in the world. And, you know, I mean, hey, these people, these Palestinians that are caught in the middle of it, hey, I don't want nobody to die except for people who deserve it, right? And unfortunately, that there's collateral damage. It is what it is, and I'm not downplaying that by any stretch of the imagination. But when you come across the border and you do what you did to 1,200 people, I'll be good goddamn if until you're all dead that we don't hunt you down.
Right. And that's what's happening in our border now. You know, these fuckers are coming across and they're raping and they're killing our fucking girls, you know, and our women, and you know, and our boys, and fucking Biden is the fucking head of it, of all this fucking, you know, illicit bullshit going on. This fucker, he's a pedophile, and he's running a pedophile ring, and he's fucking, you know, human trafficking. He's a piece of shit.
He is his there is so much bad that has happened during his administration. It's not even funny. I'm not
Right.
going to go through it, but we all know,
Yeah.
we talk about it. We've just touched on it a number of ways. And yeah, you got to secure our borders, and we have to be the biggest, baddest some bitches that walk this planet. And
Right.
until
Yep.
that case again, I'm not going to be happy with who's ruling our roost, you know?
Just clean house. Just got to clean house. Put some more business people and people that actually have some true character about
Character
them.
and cojones, you know,
Yes.
and this woke bullshit, they need to get away from it.
Oh, Yeah, we did
everybody-
ask you. We did not ask you at the beginning for any of your nouns or pronouns. We simply assumed.
My only pronoun is Mister. You know, but yeah, people are fluffy. Our borders are not secured. You know, people want to shove electric cars down your throat, and everything costs 20% more. Yeah, I think it's time for a change, but
Okay.
it is what it is. I love
on
you.
that,
I could talk forever, man, but it's been an honor and a privilege. It truly has.
Thank you, sir.
well, thank you again, Bill. It's been just great to catch up there with you and all your different things, and the best of future for your son there. Hopefully things
Yeah.
go well for him and the rest of the Goldberg family. So
Let me know when you're out this part of the country, partner.
100%. Love you guys. Y'all be
Oh,
well.
Love you, bud.
go kill that boar now.
Yeah.
It's got to get dark so I can use my night vision.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you.
Be good, gentlemen. Love y'all.
Bye. Thank you for watching another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity. You better like, subscribe, and share, or I'm going to come to your house.